What's up guys, INdeimaus here and welcome back to 10 Dumb Things You Missed, this time featuring Ubisoft's new open world adventure, Wildlands. So for some reason I tried to tackle an open world game for this series and it's probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. Now this isn't an Ubisoft thing, this is an open world thing in general. There's just a lot of nothing in the world, but I did manage to find some really goofy shit, some half interesting stuff. So here it all is in this nice little spicy video for you guys. And as always, if I missed something that you found in your playthrough, let me know down below. I'm always interested to hear things that you guys find, dumb shit that you guys find, or hit me up on Discord. I have my DMs open so you can send me a photo of it or whatever. But without further ado, here are 10 dumb things that you missed from Ghost Recon Wildlands. I can't say Wildlands without having a fucking accent. So usually when I'm given an open world game where I'm allowed to explore wherever I want, I tend to fly to the edge of the map, as far out as I can possibly go. And then in this case, I flew up to the Kawani Desert up in the top left corner of the map, and it turns out there's a nice little couch out in the open, out in the middle of the desert. And at first I thought this must be a bug, maybe if I reload into the game it won't be here, maybe someone like, I don't know, fucking bugged out and the couch flew out into the middle of the desert. But then I started to dig into it a little more and I looked it up and found that it might actually be a reference to the construct from the Matrix movies. And if you're not sure what the construct is, or if you've never seen the Matrix movies, it's just that big white nothingness of a room where all those guns start flinging in on those shelves. It's fucking sweet. There's also a scene where Morpheus and Neo are talking in front of a TV and these two couches, and it looks very similar to this couch out here. Either that, or I'm looking a little too hard into this one, and it is just a dumb couch out in the middle of the desert. Either way, I'm really happy about this one. So if you were disappointed by number 10 because it was maybe an Easter egg and was a little too helpful, well boy do I have something super dumb for you now. This is probably one of the first things I found in the game, the first few hours at least, so I can't even remember exactly where it is. But there's this little drawing of two llamas yelling at each other with crowns on, and I at the time I had no idea what it said, but I've looked it up, I translated, it says I am king, exclamation point. So they're arguing that each one's the king. I don't know, it's a white llama and a black llama. You can take this however you want. I don't know what to say about this one. It was just a nice little drawing, alright? It's really dumb. That's what you're here for, right? So on my Overwatch video, we started to notice that Blizzard like to reference their own titles, and that's fair enough. It's easy, you won't get hit by a copyright claim, people enjoy your other titles, so they'll get a kick out of it. And it looks like Ubisoft have followed suit, because in Wildlands we have an Assassin's Creed reference. Now I'll be the first to admit, not a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I haven't played it since the second one, and I played a little bit of Black Flag as well because I like pirates. But yeah, I don't know, they're just not for me. If you enjoy them, good for you, but yeah, they're not really my cup of tea. But there is one unmistakable thing from Assassin's Creed that a lot of people will recognize, and it's the diving from a tower down into like a hay bale or a barrel of leaves or something ridiculous like that and surviving. So there's this tower that I found up in the mountains in one of the enemy bases with a little ledge on the side, and it's not there now because it fucking flew off before I could start recording. But there's a bird there that actually flies around. I'll show that later. Very similar to a tower in Assassin's Creed that hasn't a bird that flies around from the tower. I know, right? It's a fucking bird. Who cares? They exist in every single world. But right below the tower, there's a little cart full of leaves as well. There is a way you can jump off of this tower down into it. Unfortunately, you do not survive. I found out the hard way that that's not possible. You can't actually jump over onto the ledge. You have to parachute in onto the tower to try this out, but I don't know why you'd want to. It doesn't work. Apparently, it's just an Assassin's Creed thing. I can't believe I tried it. If you thought you've seen everything in this world, here is a really weird looking skeleton holding Jesus, a dead Jesus on his lap and cradling him like a baby. This is just in the world. Is this a real life thing? Are these in the real world? You have to let me know if you live in the Wildlands. What the fuck is this? So it wouldn't be a 10 dumb things you missed video without having something incredibly disturbing or creepy on here. And in this case, it's this child hut. I was just gonna make a joke about it originally, but then I decided to go explore it, and thank God I did, because now I've found something that I didn't think I'd find in the Wildlands. So I came here in broad daylight, which is probably a good thing, because I can't even imagine coming here during the nighttime and having this happen. But as you can tell, there's this little kid sitting over near the hut, and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this motherfucker. But it turns out you can't kill kids in this game, so it didn't actually matter. But when I started to run up to him, he ran away into the bushes and just disappeared. He just ran into the bushes and disappeared in a puff of leaves. So I don't know if this is some sort of ghost kid. I've started to freak out at this point. And there's actually these little legends or files that you can read from your menu, and I found this one, and it reads, a long time ago, local women could only use the small swamp to wash their clothes, and men had to go fishing miles away. One day, a young boy went to help his mother, and as he walked into the water, he mysteriously disappeared. He his mother ran into the village to seek help, and when the villagers reached the swamp, the boy was nowhere to be seen. So it turns out we've found the ghost kid, boys, so that's a little terrifying, but at least he didn't pollute the lake even further with his decaying corpse, and instead he cleaned it somehow. So that's nice of him. So I think this might be one of my favorite things on this list, and it is easily the dumbest thing that you probably missed in Wildlands. And it's this llama pointing his head through this wall here and just spitting non-stop. I found this with a group of my pals when we were playing this, and we all just were staring at this wall for like a good 5 minutes straight, just watching this llama spit through the wall and poke his head through. It is ridiculous. This is the stupidest thing I've ever found. I know this is probably very unique to my experience. Maybe this llama will just happen to walk down here and poke his head through this wall and start spitting into this person's house, but I really enjoy this. This is one of my favorite things. I mean, it speaks for itself at this point. Now, this is a really strange one. I'm not sure exactly what it's trying to reference, or if it's just like cool little things that you can find throughout the world, but there's these buttons throughout the whole map that you can find, and they'll have a little sign next to them, usually saying do not press, and naturally, because we're humans, we click the button, and a bunch of strange things will happen. Either fireworks, explosions, missiles, just a bunch of random shit will happen. I found 2. I know there's more. I did look up a few more and found that people have found more of them. I didn't find those ones though, so I'm not putting them here, but if you want to see them, you can look them up pretty easily. But you click these buttons, here are the ones I found, and it fucking launches missiles right at you. And then there's this one with this statue that just blows out fire from his hands and shit. And like I mentioned before, this is what open worlds really require. Just little Easter eggs, little silly things like this that you can find. It really keeps you going throughout these big deserts of nothing. Put little shit like this in your game, and it would make it a ton more interesting, and when you find it, you just feel really good about yourself for a little while, even if it's useless. And honestly, things like this is why I started this series. There, of course, are the dumb jokes that I like to add in here, but also there's the really cool shit that maybe people don't find. I don't know, man. This is just, I've really been enjoying making this series, and it really helps when games do things like this. Here's a nice normal statue of an angel or lady praying with a little halo on her head, and it was all good until I looked down and saw this fucking little creepy baby coming out from under a dress. What the heck, man? What is this? It looks like my dummy wasn't under your dress, lady. Ooh, sorry. So there's been a lot of animation talk lately with Mass Effect Andromeda just releasing, which really dates this video. Good job, INdeimaus. But honestly, most of the animations in Wildlands are actually pretty good. The lip syncing is a little weird at times, and some of the gun animations are a little shaky as well. But my favorite, personally, my favorite animation that you probably missed, that you didn't realize you could do, but is now my new way to travel around the world, is this little shuffle thing that I found out you could do by just spamming W. It's pretty good. And then I found out you could do like this little dance on the helicopter. I don't need to speak over this one. I'm just gonna let the music speak for itself. I think birds have finally evolved in this video game and found out how to just stay in midair upside down. It's a genius move. No predators or prey will ever see you coming. Either that or it's stuck in like a giant cobweb in the sky. Oh boy, you guys have seen these booster activations? For 2 to 8 hours you can spend real life money and get boosted above your friends. They'll never see you coming. Oh, INdeimaus, how'd you get to level 24 and we're still level 12? I spent real money, bitch. If you're wondering why this man is so frightened, it looks like he's fallen out of Mass Effect Andromeda and fallen right into the Wildlands. Here's a door that leads straight into a brick wall. I don't know if this is a Dark Souls reference or they didn't realize that they put a building right next to this building. Check out this lady's dumb looking hat. Well, she must be a fan of Pharrell Williams or something. How much wrestling porn do you need in your bathroom? I mean, I'm not judging, but do you really need this much? Do you need it behind you as well? Are you like beating off into the What better way to end the speed round than with one of the most terrifying kids drawings that I've ever seen? So I just realized something. Out of the 4 Dumb Things videos that I've made so far, 3 of them have bonfire references in them. For Honor, Wildlands, and Overwatch all have bonfires in them. I guess, I don't know, I'm not choosing games that have bonfires in them, I just stumble upon them. Maybe it's my destiny that I made this series. Probably not. Regardless, here we are again with another bonfire reference. Up on the top of this mountain, there's this nice little bonfire set up with just sword thrust into it, so that's how you know it is a Dark Souls reference. Someone over there at Ubisoft, one of the modelers or map designers or whatever, they're a big fan of Dark Souls, obviously, or maybe I do know that a few people from Ubisoft have watched my 10 dumb things you missed videos. Maybe they're adding them on purpose at this point. That was a joke, of course. No one gives a fuck about this series. But you know, of course, a Dark Souls reference. If you ever put a Dark Souls reference in your video game and I feature it in this series, it is going to be number one. It's just how I do. I don't know, maybe you found this cool. Maybe I missed shit. Leave them down below. Thanks for watching, boys, and leave your game suggestions down there as well. I've got some planned already, but I'm always open for more ideas. I'm gonna go eat some pizza.